Hey guys, this is Kerry, and in this video we're going to be programming this Drumkit app. So I'm going to be giving you 9 sounds that correspond to these green spaces, as well as all of the HTML and CSS code to program this Drumkit. So the first thing I want to do is explain the way this Drumkit is going to work. So the way it's going to work is we're going to press different keys on the keyboard, like say the U key, and that's going to play a boom sound, or the I key is going to play a clap, or the O key is going to play a sound called a hi-hat, which is like a closed, a closed cymbal. And then when we play these keys, we should be able to play them in order to make a beat, play like drum sounds. I don't think you'll be able to hear those in this video, just because that's the way it kind of works in the video. Is you can't really hear the sounds that are coming out of the computer, just my voice through the headphones, but you should be able to hear them on your computer. So let's get started programming the JavaScript. So here we go. Oh, I actually gave you a bunch of JavaScript too. So I got all of the audio elements that correspond to these sounds. Those are going to be here in the HTML at the very bottom. I also got I got a handful of, not all of them, but a handful of these green divs. So each one of these green things is a div, and I got 5 of the 9. All right, so let's start programming. So this project is going to be a little different from the projects that we've done. Instead of clicking on something and having it play the sound, I actually want to take the entire window and I want to have it listen for when I press different keys on the keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an event listener. I'm going to do a different event listener than we've ever seen before. So window.add event listener. And I'm going to be listening for a key down event. This is new, not a click event. And when I press a key down, I'd like to run a function. And here's my setup right here. The function is going to be, depending on which key I push, play the corresponding sound and animate the corresponding div. So in order for this to work, my function actually requires a bit of extra information. Our event is a little more complex than before. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to pass in the event itself into the function, plug in the event basically, so that now my function can access information about the event, like which keys were pressed, or how, or whether I was holding shift down while I pressed them, stuff like that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you what this event object looks like. So I'll press console.log event. And what that's going to do is when I push a key down on my website, it's going to pass that event into my function, plugging it in just like in Algebra 2. And then it's going to log this in the JavaScript console so we can see what it looks like. So let me refresh my page here. Let me open up my JavaScript console. Okay, it's a little bit slow. All right, here we go. I open up my JavaScript console and I can see it's already logging some events, but I'm going to press the U button. And now I can see that I actually get all of this information. So when I press the U button, it's a whole bunch of information. It tells me like at what time I pushed it. It tells me which button I pressed, which was the U button. It tells me whether I was holding the control key or whether I was holding the shift key. So all of that's quite a bit. But the one that we're going to need is we need to know which key we pushed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to simplify this, and I'm just going to log the event.key. And this will go into the event object, this complex thing that captures all the information about that key press. And then it tells me just which key is being pushed. So let's see how it looks now. So if I press U, I, O, J, no matter what key I push, it just tells me what the key is. And that's pretty useful. So in this program, I don't really want to make it so that it just tells me what key is being pushed. I would like to make it so that it plays the corresponding sound. So here we go. I'm going to close down my JavaScript console, and I'm going to go over here. And I'm just going to leave that for now. I'll probably delete that a little bit later. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my if, else ifs, else ifs, else ifs, else's from here. And the reason why I'm doing this is I have many possibilities, and depending on which key I push, I want a different possibility to happen. So let me just get rid of, I should say why I'm doing that first. Before I do that, I guess if the event.key I pushed is the U button, and I noticed when I had the console open that it puts the key as lowercase, then I want to play the boom sound. So I'm going to say boom is the sound. And then I've kind of memorized, but I'll show you where you can find it here. In order to play an audio element, I just say which element and then play it. So here, if I press U, I want to take boom and play it. Instead, if I have event.key is equal to I, lowercase I, this one right here, then what I want to do is I want to take the clap sound, which is going to be from this variable right here, and play that. Here, we'll do O. So if my event.key is equal to O, I'd like to take my hi-hat sound. Let's just see what it is. It's called hi-hat. It's a lot of students will make the typo and write hit hat with the T there, but it doesn't have a T there. It's hi-hat. So hi-hat dot play. And then I'm going to have one of these for each one of them, but I'm not going to program all of them. I'll just program the first row for myself. So I don't need this else if here, but you'll have a lot more else ifs. You'll have 6 more. And then I don't really need an else here because I don't want to have an alternative. Like if they press like a key that's totally unrelated, like the R key or the A key, I don't want to play a sound. So because I'm going to specify exactly all these different options using the else if conditions, I'm going to delete the else option. All right, so I think that at this point, if you program all 9 of yours using ifs and else ifs, all of your sounds should be working. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some animations. So what I'd like to do, and at this point you should pause and test to make sure that your sounds are working. Now I'm going to add some animations. So the way I'm going to add the animations is inside of my CSS, I actually created a class called active. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that when I press the U key, we should apply that active class to this div, and then it will give this div that class. And when I give this div that class, it's going to give it all of these styles here. Like it's going to make it larger, rotate it, change some colors around. I think it should be pretty cool. And then what we're going to do is after it has those styles, we'll wait a little bit of time, and then we'll take those styles off, and it will return back to its original. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go into my JavaScript. And so what I'm going to say is if I press the U key, that's going to be the boom div, right? This one right here. So take the boom div and go into the class list property. Notice the uppercase L there, and add the class active to it. So let's see how this looks. I'm just going to reload it here. So now when I press U, I hear my sound. Cool. You should be hearing your sound too, but you should also see that it adds that style to it. But it stays like permanently like that. So the next step is going to be to use a new function called set timeout. And what this one will do is it allows me to create a pause. So I'm going to say create a pause and then run this function. And the pause should be, 500 milliseconds. That's half a second. And what I'd like to do is after half a second. This is 500 milliseconds. So after half a second, take the boom div, go to the class list, which is a list of all of the classes that are on this element, and remove the active class. And that's going to make it so that it's no longer getting these active styles. Let's see how that looks. So that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy and paste it into my other ones. And then I'm going to make it so that instead of being the boom div here, the I corresponded to the clap sound, so it's clap div. So I'll change that in both of these locations to clap div. And then here, this one is the hi-hat, so I'll change it. Let me just see what it's called. Yeah, hi-hat div, so I'll change it to hi-hat div there in both locations. So now I've got all right, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm noticing that my sounds have a bit of a problem, which is when I'm pushing the sound multiple times, it's not playing the sounds multiple times. So I'm going to try to fix that really quick. So I think what I have to do is I have to add the function before boom.play, boom.current current time is equal to 0. So let me see if that fixes my problem so that now my sound doesn't like, yeah. So now I can press it over and over again and get the sound to be a little bit better. I'm going to do the same for my other keys as well. And what this is doing is it's saying every time I click that key on the keyboard, reset the sound back to the beginning and play it. So this one will be clap.currenttime, and then down here this will be hi-hat.currenttime. And you'll add that for all of your, oops, equals 0. You'll add that for all of your drums, and then you can kind of make a cool beat. So, up, up. I'm pretty bad right now. Jeez. Okay, I need to wake up a little bit more, so hopefully I play a little bit better at the beginning of class. But this is how you make your drum kit. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it, and I hope you were able to get all of your sounds working. Bye, guys.